been 18 months since I've seen my two daughters, Angelina and Julianna. Over the past 18 months, where I haven't been allowed to see them, all I've had are a few FaceTimes, some text messages, and phone calls. The phone calls that I get with my kids are supervised and monitored by their fathers. Whenever I talk to Angelina, her father is sitting there holding the phone in his hand, and she's usually sitting away from him and talking to me from a distance. If they're in the car, he will do things like turning the music up on purpose to get her to want to hang up. He will intentionally keep the phone on the car speaker with the sunroof and windows open, so all I hear is the sound of the wind and I can barely hear her. He will intentionally keep the phone on voice isolation mode so that I can't hear anything. If she just so much as goes like this and isn't directly facing the phone, her voice is not captured. And anything he says isn't captured. And he also trains her to mute the phone so that whenever he's saying something or she's going to say something to him, she has to mute the phone so that I can't hear it. Matthew was told back in 2022 by the Orange Police Department in Orange, Connecticut, specifically Officer Jeffrey Fernandez from Orange Police Department, that if he had any contact with me whatsoever outside of the Our Family Wizard parenting app, that he would be arrested for harassment after he continuously harassed me over and over and over and over when the court said he could only talk to me in the app. So he was arrested in 2023. On January 27th, 2023, he turned himself in to the Orange Police Department on a warrant, and he was arrested for harassment in the second degree, and he was arraigned on January 30th, 2023 in the Derby Superior Court in Derby, Connecticut. After that arrest, the court issued an automatic criminal protective order to protect me as a protected party from Matthew, who was the respondent. And it said that he wasn't allowed to abuse, threaten, harass, interfere with, stalk, etc., etc., etc. And it said no contact with me at all. And it said that he could only contact me about affairs and visitation of Angelina, and only in the Family Wizard app, which at the time there was no calling feature, only messages. Almost immediately after he got arrested, he continued to violate the protective order. He would speak to me on the phone, and the protective order said that I was allowed to call his phone and he was allowed to answer to give Angelina the phone so that I could talk to her, and he was allowed to call my phone and I was allowed to answer and give Angelina the phone so she could talk to him. And that was the exception. It said that he was allowed to initiate contact with the protected party for the purpose of contact with their minor child in accordance with the most recent family order, which the most recent order said our communication was only to be in Family Wizard. So from January 30th, 2023, when he was arraigned on that harassment charge, until like August 24th or something, 2023, when my attorney, Michael Hillis, showed up at the court with the prosecutor, Rebecca Berry, and had a meeting behind my back with Matthew and decided to say that they were going to dismiss his case and completely denied my constitutional rights as a crime victim and right to be heard and right to be given information about what was happening, and not to have an attorney that wasn't involved in that case where I was the victim. He was involved in the case where I was a defendant, not in Matt's case. And they completely played me and then dismissed his case. So January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, that's 8 months. 8 months the protective order was in place. From January of 2023 until August of 2023. And during that time, Matthew violated the protective order over 100 times by continuing to speak to me on the phone when I would try to call my daughter Angelina. If you know anything about Connecticut and if you know anything about protective orders, you know that there's no tolerance, there's no discretion, there's no exceptions, and even a butt dial, even a Facebook poke, even an accidental contact is a felony with a 5-year sentence, max sentence. And so if it's a felony to violate the no contact, and Matthew violated the no contact hundreds of times, he should have been charged with hundreds of felony charges. But because he's registered as a confidential informant, he is not allowed to be prosecuted, and he's not allowed to be arrested most of the time. And Officer Jeffrey Fernandez from the Orange Police Department stated that the only reason why he was arrested was because they had a rookie new cop that he was training, that he let work on some stuff that was sitting on his desk for months. And the complaint I put in about Matt was put in November of 2022. And the arrest happened in the end of January of 2023, only because some rookie cop who was being trained accidentally processed it, per Officer Fernandez. After him continuing to harass me on these calls, even with a full no contact protective order and an open case, the police would not arrest him. And finally, after me reporting hundreds of violations of the no contact order, the Orange Police Department, specifically Officer Andrew Paul Stekowski and Kurt Correa, decided to arrest me for calling the police again to report that on April 30th, 2023, at St. Barbara's Greek Orthodox Church in Orange, Connecticut, that Matthew Lodi violated the protective order again by having contact with me outside the app, which I recorded on video. Him talking to me and having harassing contact and the police refusing to arrest him for it has been going on for now more than 2 years, or 2.5 years of this, where they said to him, you'll be arrested if you ever contact her again outside the app. He was arrested for doing that, and a protective order went in place. And even after the arrest and with the protective order in place, he continued to do it for 8 straight months. Then the protective order was dropped and he continued to do it even more. And when I called the police, they said that he's allowed to harass me as much as he wants because there's no restraining order saying that he can't. And I just have, of course, recorded these phone calls because even if it's in a two-party state, you are allowed to record if crime is taking place and for your own safety. And if a crime is about to take place or in the process of taking place, you do have the right to record, and those laws don't apply. So I'll start posting all the phone calls, and you guys can hear for yourself just how abusive and terrible and cruel he is. And the things that he says to my daughter. He tells my daughter the most adult, inappropriate things for a 6-year-old, and he tries to speak to me on the phone over and over and over. And after the Orange Police Department arrested me for reporting what he did, for reporting that he violated the order, they put in a protective order to protect him from me that had the same terms, saying that I can't contact him unless it's in the app. So now that protective order is still in place almost 3 years later, even though the state of Connecticut has a speedy trial statute that says that if you ask for a motion for a speedy trial, the state has to bring you to trial within 1 year of the date of your arrest, which my arrest was May 16th, 2023. If they don't start your trial within 1 year of the arrest, then they have 30 days upon motion for a speedy trial to start your trial. And if it doesn't start within 30 days of that 1 year anniversary, or 9 months from the 1 year anniversary if you're in jail, then by statute and by law, they're required to dismiss your case with prejudice, which means that they can't take the charges against you again. But here we are almost 3 years later, and the state is refusing to give me a trial, refusing to dismiss the case, refusing to dismiss the charges, refusing to rule on any of the motions, refusing to vacate the protective order or modify it, and completely ignoring every single thing that I file in the case. So this protective order that says that it's a felony if I contact him outside the Family Wizard app is still in effect and registered in a federal database and enforceable in all 50 states, U.S. territories, and tribal lands. So this extremely restrictive order is a huge infringement on my constitutional rights because it also says that I'm not allowed to possess firearms or ammunition, which violates my Second Amendment right, as I have not been convicted of a crime. I have a clean record and I'm innocent until proven guilty. Basically, now, during these calls with Angelina, he'll sit there and he'll try to speak to me directly, knowing that if I speak back to him, it's a felony. He will sit there and talk shit about me. And if I say something to like, Angelina, I love you, he'll be like, oh, if you love her, why did you abandon her then? Or I'll say, oh, Angelina, I'm going to buy you some Starbucks for breakfast. And he'll say, oh, why don't you just give me my child support instead? Or I'll say, oh, Angelina, mommy's going to go do some work. And he'll say, oh, now that you're working, maybe you can start paying me my child support. He'll tell her mommy is sick. He'll tell her that mommy has problems with her brain. He'll tell me that, don't worry, I'm going to have to tell you what to say when all of your friends from school ask you about what mommy posted. So you're going to be trained on what to say because I want to make sure you say the right thing. And telling her, oh, you don't have to listen to mommy anymore. Don't worry, you don't have to listen to mommy anymore. And telling her she's never going to come to me again and she can only see me when she's 18. So I told him yesterday, I don't want to have calls anymore because it's not that I don't want to talk to my daughter. I would love to. And I just can't take his abuse anymore. And if she calls me, I'll probably end up answering because I love her so much, but I just can't take this abuse. And I'm going to start posting all these calls so everybody could see just how psychologically and emotionally abusive